Police ambushed 2 young officers and an innocent neighbour among 6 killed in a firefight on the Western Downs. Shocking details about their killers, plus incredible tales of bravery, how 2 officers managed to escape the sickening attack. The tragedy sending shockwaves across the country and the world. Tonight, Queensland's plan to honour our fallen heroes.
This is 9 News Queensland.
Good evening. A hail of bullets, cold-blooded murder, a ruthless execution and a horrible tragedy. It's how authorities are describing what happened on a remote property at Weambilla. 3 innocent Queenslanders are now dead, including 2 police officers, while the 3 people accused of killing them have also been shot dead by police. We have reporters in key locations tonight covering every angle of this tragedy. Tim Arvier begins our coverage.
A scarred piece of Queensland bush with the evidence of a cold-blooded ambush, executions and a deadly firefight visible across the landscape. A police vehicle marked with bullets after gunshots pierced the night's silence when the carnage was finally brought to an end. But not before 2 officers had already paid the ultimate sacrifice. 29-year-old Constable Rachel McCrow and 26-year-old Constable Matthew Arnold.
Losing one of our own has a profound impact on every single officer and their families. To lose 2 officers in one incident is absolutely devastating.
At 4:30 p.m, the 2 officers went to the Weambilla property with 2 other young constables, Randall Kirk and Keely Bruff, who's just 2 months into the job. They were looking for former school principal Nathaniel Train, who'd been reported missing in New South Wales. But also at the house were Nathaniel's brother Gareth Train and his wife Stacey Train. And the officers had no idea they were walking into an ambush as the residents opened fire at close range with high-powered guns.
There's considerable weaponry involved in what took place yesterday.
Rachel McCrow and Matthew Arnold were killed almost instantly, the murderers also taking their pistols from their bodies. Randall Kirk was grazed by a bullet and managed to escape, while Keely Bruff fled into bushland, where the attackers lit a fire to try to smoke her out.
The scene is quite unimaginable, it's distressing. And in my view, those officers did not stand a chance, and I don't know how 2 got out alive.
Both surviving officers called urgently for backup. An exclusion zone was set up with police swarming the area. Keely Bruff, meanwhile, was messaging her family as she hid.
The people that I have spoken to cannot believe how she survived and what she did during that period of time.
Paramedics and reinforcements kept moving in as the long wait began. As night fell, the standoff continued, with shots fired at the Polair helicopter. A team of 16 officers moving in, rescuing Keely and retrieving the bodies of Matthew and Rachel before the standoff ended just before 11 p.m.
When I think about what they did and how they did it, because I've been briefed on that as well, was extraordinarily brave.
There was another tragedy. 58-year-old neighbour Alan Dare, who heard the initial ambush and went to offer assistance, but lost his life in doing so. The police union says he was shot in the back.
That neighbour, like my officers, didn't stand a chance either.
When I was hearing about this and speaking to people involved, I just couldn't believe this was happening in our community.
Rachel McCrow and Matthew Arnold's bodies have now been brought back under guard in a police convoy to Brisbane for autopsies. Their family and friends in a state of shock. Matthew Arnold's sister, Hayley, posting, "She's experiencing a physical heartbreak pain I've had since we received that knock on the door. You were meant to come home today and stay for Christmas. You should have been able to come home."
I spoke with Matthew's father last night. It's hard to know what to say. He was devastated and still processing what was occurring, and our thoughts go out to Matthew's parents and Rachel's family as well.
One of Matthew Arnold's mates paying tribute at Chinchilla Police Station.
Absolute top fella, absolutely great. He's always there to lend a hand.
Questions are already being asked about the motive behind the murders. Police say all 3 people at the property are considered offenders. Conspiracy theories have been widely shared on the internet under Gareth Train's name, railing against authorities and vaccinations. One post reading, Bill Gates, the Queensland Government, Family Business and the UQ are all in bed together. Vax genetics, biowarfare, toxins and venoms, artificial intelligence and drone tech, you name it. Another saying, everyone has the God-given right to defend themselves against all and any aggressors and oppressors. 9 News has confirmed Stacey Train was a Queensland teacher and resigned last year to avoid mandatory COVID vaccinations, while Nathaniel and Gareth's father Ronald had this exchange with a local newspaper reporter in Toowoomba this afternoon.
I'm not going to share anything with you, no details or anything. You can make up your own, you can speculate, make up as much as you want to.
I just wanted to see if there was anything,
you can't do anything. I've lost 2 children.
Authorities say the full picture of what drove the murderers to carry out their brutal killings will take time.
It was going to take us a number of days, if not weeks, to unravel every single aspect of the scene, but every single second of what took place.
Tim Arvia, 9 News.
Joining us now is Police Commissioner Katarina Carroll. Commissioner, thank you for your time on such a shocking, sad day for the police force and the wider community. Have any more details come to light about why or what led to this ambush?
Thank you, Melissa. We don't have a clearer picture at the moment. There is an extensive investigation into what occurred. From what we can see, it seemed senseless. It seemed almost unnecessary. I think what the difficult part is here is we're grappling with the senselessness of this. There are excellent investigators on this, homicide squad, ethical standards. We will get to the bottom of this, Melissa.
It's hard to find the words, I know, but have you spoken with the families involved?
Yes, I have. I've spoken to Matt's parents. I've spoken to Rachel's parents. As you can appreciate, they're some of the most toughest discussions you could ever have. They're distraught. They can't understand it. None of us can understand it. I will be seeing them tomorrow as well. The least we can do is surround them with love and support and really pay tribute to their courage. They were extraordinarily popular, well-meaning, exceptional police officers.
And we know when something like this happens, of course, it does affect the wider service. How are you and the police family coping tonight?
We're all struggling, to be quite frank. Everyone is struggling. I spoke to the police that were involved in the extraction of the officers. I spoke to the surviving police. I spoke to CERT. I spoke to many, many officers today, crying, upset, devastated, trying to reason with what happened and why. I know we will get there, Melissa, we will get there, but it's going to take a long time and we will get to the bottom of it.
Commissioner, take care. Thank you. We'll cross live now to Alex Heinke, who's been at the scene all day. Alex, it's been an emotional day out there.
Well, you've just heard, Melissa, so many emotions felt by so many people of all ages. You can start with police officers. They're coming to grips with the fact that they've lost 2 of their own and so many more of them were in the firing line, but they've had to show up to work today. So many people across the state and across the country showing their support too, but in a second, you'll see that we were the only ones inside this exclusion zone this morning, side by side with a woman that was amongst the hardest hit. She was learning the fact that her husband, an innocent bystander, had been gunned down just down the road from their family home. This is a type of pain, a sense of loss, almost impossible to put into words. Yesterday, Kerry Dare was a wife. Tonight, she's a widow. Her son and daughter giving her the strength to cross police lines, enter the crime scene and see the body of her husband.
I pay tribute to a neighbour driven by the instinct to help. Alan Dare also lost his life in this tragedy.
Alan Dare, a 58-year-old father, a handyman with a love of muscle cars, But in a cruel twist, it was his helpful nature that ended up costing him his life. In the wrong place at the wrong time, police say he unknowingly walked into the crossfire.
From what I understand, the neighbour was just going to see what was occurring, and I'm not sure whether it was because of the fire or whether it was because of, hearing weapons being shot. But that neighbour, like my officers, didn't stand a chance either.
His wife, so shaken, so hurt from the worst 12 hours of her life, still trying to piece together what happened. Well, there's been plenty of vehicles and officers coming and going from the crime scene across the course of today, but just quickly take a look at this car being towed right now. It was the first one here yesterday. That's what the slain officers drove here in. They had no idea what was waiting for them when they got out. As her husband's body was taken from the scene, one final act of unity. Kerry and her family forming a guard of honour. Police joined in. After all, they've lost two of their own as well.
I know we are all thinking of the victims' families who are grieving at this difficult time.
Alex Heinke, 9 News.
The heartbreaking loss is being keenly felt in the nearby town of Tara. The two fallen officers stationed in the area becoming a huge part of the community. Tonight, tributes are flowing, but many residents remain in a deep state of shock, still coming to grips with how such a tragic event could occur.
Side by side in grief, sharing hugs, a prayer, and this afternoon, a minute's silence. In a town of roughly 2,000 people, there were 5 officers stationed in Tara. Last night, 2 of them were murdered.
It hurts so much to listen to the choppers flying around, the gunshots. And then to find this morning that 6 people had died, it's terrible.
Any town will be big, but being such a small town, it's going to shock everyone.
I just burst into tears. Just doing their daily job, you don't expect to be ambushed like that.
Soft toys, flowers and handwritten tributes piling up throughout the day as locals grieve.
Yeah, everybody's in shock as far as that goes.
Whether or not they knew the 2 constables or the innocent neighbour, people are angered and saddened by the loss of 3 of their own.
Is this really happening out here in Chinchilla and Wieambilla? I mean, just unbelievable in the community.
It's really hard, and people are, it's slowly the reality is slowly setting in with them, and this community will feel the impacts of this incident for many months and possibly years to come.
Young and old, everybody is connected to this tragedy. Stacey Train, who was killed by police alongside her husband last night, taught Noah in grade 5 when she worked at the local school.
She was a pretty good teacher. I'm pretty shocked. Yeah.
But as often happens in towns like this, during times like this, those in Tara and surrounding areas will have each other's backs.
It'll be difficult for a while. Everyone will get behind the police and support them and support anybody else who has been involved.
And tributes are still flowing in here at Tara. People are still stopping by to drop off flowers and handwritten cards and show their respects to those fallen officers. It's obviously a very difficult thing for people, both emotionally and mentally, and a local psychologist has set up in a town hall nearby offering free counselling services to those who need it. The local MP is also working to secure broader support services for the community at large as this town tries to come to terms with the loss of not only two of their local police officers, but 2 very valued community members. Melissa.
Nick, thank you for that. Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk joins us now. Premier, all Queenslanders are feeling this tragedy tonight. What is the best way for the public to show their support?
I think the best way is for people to stop and pause for a moment and think about the extraordinary work that our police do each and every day. And to lose 2 young constables in this manner is simply horrific. Today is a dark day, and I know that all Queenslanders, our thoughts and prayers are absolutely with their families tonight and their loved ones.
Will there be extra support offered to officers?
Absolutely. We need to make sure that the officers on the ground there get all the support that they need, but also too there'll be a community that will be in shock as well. So the Police Minister, the Commissioner and of course the Police Union are out there on the ground providing those necessary supports. But tonight I ask all Queenslanders to please stop for a moment and think about the extraordinary work that our police officers do each and every day. And sadly, 2 of our own officers are no longer with us tonight, and it is a very dark day for Queensland. moment.
It certainly is. Premier, thank you so much for your time tonight. For one family in particular, today is extremely painful, with the killings awfully similar to the circumstances in which Senior Constable Brett Fort was murdered. Jessica Millward spoke with them.
What the families of Matthew Arnold and Rachel McCrow are going through is unimaginable to most.
We know what they're going through, unfortunately, and it's similarly eerie to what happened to Brett that day.
The similarities are chilling. Brett Fort was killed on the job in 2017, shot by a crazed gunman in the Lockyer Valley. He and partner Kath Nielsen ambushed in the bush.
Can't see him, I can't see anything. The vehicle's right. Forty's down, injured. He's breathing, you're right, 40. And apparently he's in front of us somewhere. I cannot see him.
You never get over it, unfortunately. You just somehow learn to try and deal with it, but when it happens again, and it hasn't sort of been rectified, what's sort of gone on, I guess. It's extremely sad for all parties involved.
What, if anything, the four officers knew about the dangers facing them yesterday on that property will be examined.
We're going through that, but certainly all police do risk assessments, and those risk assessments are quite thorough. And we will look at that in our investigation.
An investigation which will be extensive, lengthy and painful. Pain the Fort family know all too well.
You feel for the families, you've been through it, and it's extremely sad, and we're a big family, so we want to help them out when they're ready. They could reach out, or we'll reach out, and support the guys.
This is such a difficult day, not just for Brett's family, but for all of those who have lost loved ones in the line of duty. And now, tragically, 2 more names will soon be added to this police memorial. Constable Rachel McCrow, Constable Matthew Arnold. With honour and bravery they served. Jessica Millward, 9 News.
And if you would like to help, the Queensland Police Union has established a remembrance fund to help support the families of Constable Matthew Arnold and Constable Rachel McCrow. You can donate using the details on your screen. Our special coverage of the shooting tragedy continues just ahead. Plus, disgraced former Mayor Paul Pasali out of jail after serving 3 years for multiple crimes. Scathing findings released into Queensland's disastrous DNA testing failures. Details next. And at the end of sport, the supermarket specials to help you save on festive favourites this year.